Hello, everyone. I'm Sean, and this is the first episode in what I hope to be a series called Sean References MLW. For those of you who don't know, I'm a very active wiffle ball player and fan, especially in the MLW community, and I possess and maintain what is believed to be the largest record of MLW stats in history on the internet. And in this series, I'm going to be explaining some of the more advanced stats that I have in that collection, the stats that you might not recognize right off the bat, no pun intended. And today I'm starting off with OPS and OPS plus. So the first question here is, what is OPS? And as many of you who are baseball fans already know, it stands for on base plus slugging, which is very simply on base percentage plus slugging percentage added up into one number. Now, to really explain OPS, I need to explain on base percentage and slugging percentage themselves. So, on base percentage is the percentage of plate appearances where a batter safely reaches base, whether that's through a walk or a hit, or in MLB, it can also be a hit by pitch. MLW, of course, doesn't have hit by pitches, so it's just walks and hits. And a better way to think of this is the rate at which batters avoid making outs. The main job of a batter is to not make an out, since outs are the currency of baseball and wiffle ball. So avoiding making an out is a successful plate appearance. The calculation for on-base percentage is shown at the bottom here. It's hits plus walks divided by plate appearances. So times on base divided by total times batting. To give an example here, I'm going to use Chris Cheatham's 2022 season, where he had 15 hits, 16 walks, and 77 plate appearances. So, substituting those numbers into the formula, you get 15 plus 16 divided by 77, which is 31 over 77, and rounds to 0.403, which in on-base percentage terms is 403, or just 403. Next, I have to explain slugging percentage, which is the average amount of bases that a batter accrues per at-bat. Now, please note that the denominator here is at-bats, not plate appearances. This is simply about hits, not reaching base. It's measured on a scale of 0 to 4.0, which in this parlance is called 4,000, not the standard 0 to 1,000 scale of most rate stats in baseball and wiffle ball. And the formula, as you can see, is total bases over at-bats. So again, to give an example, I'll use Cheatham's 2022. He had 35 total bases, and total bases, in case you didn't know, you get one total base for a single, two for a double, three for a triple, and four for a home run. And he had 61 at-bats. That's 35 over 61, ends up as 0.574, rounding to that, or 574, or just 574. So now that we know what on-base percentage and slugging percentage are, we can get back to OPS itself. OPS, now we can call a combination of avoiding outs and obtaining bases, which is very useful as a one stat for hitters. It shows how good you are at reaching base, thus avoiding making an out, and it shows how many bases you get per at bat, which is a good measure of how much power you hit for. I'm going to use Cheatham as an example again, with his 403 on base and 574 slugging. Those sum up to a 976 OPS, or 0.976 or 976. Now, the next question is, well, is that a good OPS? And the answer is complicated. Since OPS has two factors that are measured on different scales, on base is a 0 to 1,000 scale, slugging is a 0 to 4,000. You can reach the same OPS in very different ways. This example that I have here is Jonah Heath and Jackson Pearson from 2022. Their OPS is almost exactly the same, separated only by 0.03, but they got to it in vastly different ways. Heath got to it by getting on base over half of his plate appearances, and Pearson got to it through a .552 slugging percentage, which is excellent. There's also context. In 2022, Jordan Robles was the MLW leader. He had a 1243 OPS. That's a great number. But in 2018, if he had a 1243 OPS, he would have been 10th among all batters in the league. So what was a great OPS in 2022 was mediocre in 2018. So how do we tell if an OPS is actually good? That's where we get OPS plus. Since comparing across seasons, as we've already seen, is very difficult, and even comparing within seasons, you have the two factors, as shown by Heath and Pearson. Just using raw OPS isn't the best way, especially in MLW, to determine how good of a hitter someone is. So we're going to use OPS plus. Now, what is OPS plus? This is a comparison of the individual on base and slugging numbers to the league average numbers in those stats. 100 is always average, an OPS plus of 100, that is. If you have 1 point above 100, you're 1% better than league average. So a 110 OPS plus means a hitter is 10% better than league average. And the same is true for going under 100. The 75 OPS plus means you're 25% worse than the league average hitter. And as a side note, any stat that ends with plus is always going to work this way, where 100 is average and 1 point is 1 percentage point. So let's use Cheatham as an illustration again. Cheatham's OPS was 976, his on base was 403, and his slugging was 574. His OPS was well above the league average, his on base was slightly below, and his slugging was way above. How does that translate to OPS plus? You can ignore the complicated formula on screen and just focus on the final result here, since it's all you really need to know. Cheatham's OPS plus in 2022 was 122, and we got there by taking his on base over the league on base, adding his slugging over the league slugging, subtracting 1, and then multiplying that all by 100. So in the case of Cheatham, his on base was about 96% of the league average, his slugging was about 126%, which leads to 100 times 1.22, and his OPS plus is 122. So let's go back to the Heath and Pearson comparison. As you can see, they again had almost exactly the same OPS, but according to OPS plus, Heath is the better hitter, at least was the better hitter in 2022, as his on base being higher than the league average was more valuable than Pearson's slugging being higher than the league average. And he edges Pearson by 2 percentage points, 129 to 127. Let's go back to Jordan Robles in 2022, who had a 1243 OPS. Remember I said that would have been 10th in 2018? Well, it was actually the exact same as Jack Agner in 2018, who had a 1243. Agner's is slightly higher if you go out to further decimal places, but using OPS plus shows that Jordan Robles was at a 184 in 2022, while Agner was at a 100 in 2018. So despite having the same OPS, in 2018, Agner was just a league average hitter, while in 2022, Robles was a great hitter, 84% better than league average. And to end off here, I'm just going to show some leaderboards with these stats. The 2022 OPS plus leaders among qualified hitters. As you can see, Robles was the leader, followed by Cratch, Daniel Schultz, Zach Whalen, Jimmy Norp, TC3, Kyle Schultz, Nick Saylor, Dallas Allen, and Jonah Heath. Now, all of these scores were very good, but Robles led the league by a significant amount. And the career OPS plus leaders, again among qualified hitters. And when I say career, I mean 2018 onward, the Meadows era, since I do not have full records for before that. But Norp is the career leader with a 200 OPS plus. He's followed by Kyle Schultz, Nick Saylor, Ryan Cratch, Noah Daberco, Andy Durand, Jonah Heath, Alec Warda, Chris Cheatham, and Ryan Gable. And again, all of these are very, very good career totals, but Norp well ahead of the pack with a 200 OPS plus, meaning in his career he has been twice as good as the league average hitter. So before I go today, I do want to say OPS and OPS plus are not perfect stats. I'll get into that more in the next installment in this series. But if you want to look at just one stat quickly to tell you how good of a hitter someone is or someone has been, OPS plus is a very good place to start. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave me feedback. This is the first time I've ever recorded myself doing a video like this. And yeah, hope you come back for the next one where I will talk about WOBA, which is weighted on base average, and WRC plus, weighted runs created plus, which is a more advanced version of OPS and OPS plus. Thank you, and goodbye, everyone.